Breaking news in the fight against COVID. Some of the youngest Americans are now one giant step closer to being protected from the virus. The FDA authorizing Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for children as young as 6 months. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel joins us now. Dr. Patel, this is not the final hurdle, but it is news that a lot of parents have been waiting to hear. Talk about what went into the FDA's decision. What kind of data did they look at to allow this emergency use authorization?
Yeah, Vicki, they had really, unfortunately, compelling data because, listen, it's been several years where we've had no access to vaccines for under 5. Couple of flagging points. Number one, hospitalizations, especially during the Omicron period. The rates of hospitalizations in the under 5 population exceeded even the worst seasons of influenza when we would normally expect to see hospitalizations at its peak. So that means more hospitalizations that can be prevented. Second point of data is really, unfortunately, death. We had hundreds of deaths in the same age group related to COVID. Again, all preventable based on the data that Moderna and Pfizer submitted that showed that their vaccines, even though the effectiveness is lower than it would have been 2 years ago with different strains, Vicki, it is still incredibly effective, especially against hospitalization and death. And then finally, every parent's concern is safety. There were no serious safety concerns that were flagged in either Moderna or Pfizer, which is reassuring for those of us who want to make sure that anything we offer our children is as safe as possible.
So this is for kids under 5. How young can these vaccines, how young can it go? And also, every parent wants to know, what are the differences between these two? Because I think one is 2 shots, one is 3 shots, and that can be, the difference to make the choice that you select for your child.
Yeah, no, that's the question we're getting literally today as we speak, because we're expecting these vaccines to be in arms as early as next week. So 2 shots for Moderna, 4 weeks apart. And that gets you vaccinated, fully vaccinated, 6 weeks from the first shot. So that's an advantage, 2 shots. Pfizer, 3 shots, and that's 3 weeks between 1 and 2, and then at least 8 weeks between 2 and 3. You can even extend it a little longer based on circumstances. But Vicki, you do the math. That gets you fully vaccinated a little later. So what will parents do to decide? This is what I've told parents. You should try to get the vaccine that's first available. All offices might not be carrying both vaccines. They might have one or another based on what the state or the federal government gives us. So get what you're comfortable with and ask the questions. That timeline might make you choose one or the other. In terms of which one is better, they're both basically about the same effectiveness. So you're not choosing one to be better than the other. With Moderna, they saw a little bit higher of what we would call kind of fever reactions with vaccines. We see this with pediatric vaccines, but that might also make you compelled to avoid having a fever. And if you want to avoid any possibility, then you might choose Pfizer. But ultimately, I want parents to discuss this with their pediatricians and their doctors, and ultimately get what you have available, because we're seeing a lot of cases still, Vicki.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.